Riders ready, watch the gate.
Welcome to BMX Live TV for the kickoff of the 2017 UCI BMX Supercross Series. I'm Pete Dylewski. We're here in Papendal, Holland for the opening round, rounds 1 and rounds 2. Today is Friday. Got our practice going on. You can see behind me the elite women are hitting the track. We've got a lot to bring you today in the first of the Dance Comp Preview Show brought to you by BMX Live TV. All right, so we're on the top of the 8-meter high start ramp. As we see, practice is behind us. The riders get the first 15 or 20 minutes just to check out the track, look at it, ride without the gate. But as you can see right here, I'm right at where the kink is. This is the part where the riders always talk about where the most extreme drop-off is before they get down this ramp, where they need to be precise to get over that first jump good and clean. A lot of action happens on this little portion of the track right here. Riders get cut off, riders accelerate, they get out front. But once you get to that kink, that's where some riders have to stop it and take a break of their pedaling before they get to that bottom transition. But as we said, that big setup for that first jump is the make or break for a lot of riders. You see crashes down that first straightaway has really nothing to do with the ramp. The speed that they're generated could come from anywhere. It's the way they get lined up for that big jump. And you can see behind my back, it's a pretty far jump for the elite men and elite women that we'll see later on this weekend here on BMX Live TV from stop number 1 in Papendal, Holland. All right, we're here with last year's champion, Laura Smulders, getting ready to practice. You've had a little bit of time on the track. Things have changed a little bit, but this being your home track, how excited are you for the opening round of the World Cup to be here this year?
Of course, I'm really excited. It's only 20 minutes from my home track. Yes, I have had a lot of time here and I'm really excited. I hope there's a lot of people coming to watch us and it will be a great race.
So, coming now into the new season as last year's champion, just talk about, we talked with you at the end of last season, but getting over the, the off season, having that title, how is it, how have you thought about it and how does it bring you into this new year and, what do you want to do? What are your goals for this season?
I was really happy with my title last year, 3 wins out of 5, so that was a pretty consistent season. This year I want to, of course I want to do the same. I want to get that title again, but we've got 6 races this year, 2 in Papendal, 2 in Zolder, and then 2 in Argentina at the end of the year. I'll do my best and hopefully I'll get the title again.
So you've had a lot of good races here on the World Cups. For you, I know you don't want to give any of your competitors the secrets, but what's the most important part of this track for you when it comes time for that main event?
Well, of course, the first straight is really important. It's easy if you get out in front in the beginning, but then at the end of the track, like the second half is pretty technical. You got to keep up the speed. That's where I passed Caroline last year. I really kept up the speed and I passed her down the last straight and just on the finish line, so that was enough for the win. But it's a pretty technical track, so with the wind and everything, you just got to focus until the finish line.
All right, so new season, new bike for you. Talk about a little bit what you changed in your setup from last year, or just talk about your new setup that you have here for the 2017 season.
Well, I haven't really changed my bike that much since last year. Just new parts, new frame, new color. That's it. But well, the Mabo frame, of course, with the super duper parts, Shimano, Tioga tires, rental bars. Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, good luck this weekend, and we know the fans, especially here, are going to be excited to watch you.
Yeah, thanks. I hope the stands will be stacked tomorrow and Sunday. Will be great.
Okay, so now we've moved on to the portion of practice for the elite women where they're on that gate, getting practice down this first straightaway, warming up for this weekend's back-to-back World Cup opening rounds here in Papendal. We're going to see a lot of good race action when there's 8 riders on the gate, and you'll be able to catch it all starting Saturday on BMX Live TV. The entire race, the entire world, nothing's going to be blocked, so tune in to watch the opening 2 rounds of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. Okay, we're here with Mariana Pajon, our current world champion. Mariana, you've had some great races here, and you've started the season off really well. So we're here getting ready for day 1 in Papendal. What are your expectations for the race here this weekend?
Yeah, this year been amazing here racing in Europe. The level is so high, and I'm just ready for the first World Cup of the year. Just feeling confident on my bike again, and just as me, like I'm not in 100%, but I will give it all.
So Mariana, of course, is our 2-time Olympic champion, and with that title, you get to run some pretty cool stuff. If you take a look at her bike, there's no question of what she got at the Olympics that we all know, but the golden girl of BMX now has a completely golden BMX bike. to go with that golden smile. So Mariana, again, the race here, we just asked Laura Smulders what the most important part of the track is for her. For you, what do you think it's going to be made or, to go from first or second in that main event?
Personally, this is the best track ever. Like, it's so wide open and it's gonna be like open races. So the first straight is really, really important. Then it just flow, has the flow all over the track. Just feel confident and just go as fast as you can and just build clean all the track and you'll be good.
So we always like to let you give your fans back down in Colombia a little bit of a shout out in your native language. So go ahead and let them know how exciting the race is going to be this weekend for the opening first 2 rounds of the World Cup here in Papendal.
Bueno, a todos los latinos y latinoamericanos, colombianos, toda esa parte que están viéndonos y que hablan español sobre todo, quiero mandarles un saludo muy especial, decirles que la selección Colombia está lista para esta primera ronda de las Copas Mundo en Papendal y no se lo pueden perder.
So Mariana Pajon looking to get another win here in Papendal. We'll see how things turn out as we get into racing starting tomorrow. We're here with last year's overall series runner-up, Brooke Crain. But Brooke,
Runner-up, huh?
Did you get
Way to put it.
you started this 2017 season off with a bang. A lot of wins on the USA BMX circuit, and you've been pretty strong. So coming into the World Cup season, what are your goals and ambitions for this new year?
Obviously, my goal this weekend is to get on top of the box. I've never won a Supercross race, so that's obviously the goal. But I want to have fun. I want to have a good clean laps. I have a history of getting hurt at this race, so trying to put that behind me. And like I said, like you said, I've had a good season so far, and I'm having a lot of fun this year, and just really enjoying my bike. And a friend of mine said yesterday, it's not gonna last forever, so I'm enjoying every bit that I can.
So a lot of riders always want to know, what did you do different in the off season, or what did you change on your bike or whatever. But I think for you, well, why don't you tell us? Because I know what I think, but why don't you tell us why this season started off so much better for you, or I think it's your best season ever?
Yeah, it really is my best season ever so far, and I joked around actually the other day that I've had more wins this year than I've had, I think, in my entire career. But I haven't changed anything other than mentally. Like I said, I don't have the stress on myself that it's Olympic year, I need to do good. I'm really just enjoying what I do, and I obviously am here because I love to ride my bike, and that's just what I'm trying to do, and it's paying off so far. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
So as you said, this track here in Papendal is pretty big, pretty scary, I think, at the speeds that you get up to. But how do you turn that off and go out there and run a clean, smooth lap?
Yeah, it's switch in your head that you got to find, and I know how to ride my bike, and that's all I need to focus on. It's just if the wind's coming out a certain direction, you just got to throw your bike the other way. And obviously, anybody who knows me knows that I don't do good with wind. I hate wind. I'm not a very big person, so I get blown around a lot. But yeah, just gonna hope for the best and hope that Mother Nature's on our side this weekend.
And then speaking of your bike, let's take a quick look of your bike. It's definitely really nice, carbon fiber Haro Citizen frame. But anything specific or different that you do set up, customization for you for Supercross, or just you in general?
No, not at all. It's just a Pro Haro carbon, like you said, box components, and that's really all there is to it.
All right, so I know we're all looking forward to the first 2 opening rounds here in Papendal. Good luck, and the fans are excited to watch you back on track on the Supercross Tour.
Thanks, Pete.
So here we are, 2017 kickoff season. A lot of changes going on. There's different formats on the track, but from BMX Live, you'll see some new faces. One of them's right here, Samantha Cools. You remember her from just a few years back, one of the top elite women competitors out on the track. Samantha, thanks for joining our crew.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
And then, as you all know, last year, one of the most opinionated riders in the world, but he's got the credentials to back it up, Dr. Jason Richardson. Jason, thanks for coming back again this year.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back.
So the crew of 3 now is going to be exciting. You're going to get Jason and Samantha's commentary throughout the race weekends, and then I'm going to be roaming around the pits, getting information from the riders themselves when they're on the back of the hill, when they're in a team zone, wherever we can go. So it'll be definitely a lot more information here on BMX Live. All right, so we're now in the elite men's practice, and we were able to grab Jelle van Gorkom with us. He's got a lot of time on the track here, but he's going to give us some insight and scoop on what the track's like here in Papendal as we're here for the opening rounds of the World Cup. Jelle, talk about the track here in Papendal.
Well, the track is actually the replica of the 2016 Olympic track, the Rio Olympic track, and it's the same like it was last year, only they redid the top surface, which is a lot smoother now compared to last year and the years before. which I personally like, because there's less bumps, less little small stones that kind of slow you down. So I like that. I like first wide open first straight, then a pretty technical second and third straight, and then, once you go into that last straight, the lactic acid is all over your body. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be the survival of the fittest this weekend, and 2 races, which is different for us, but I'm looking forward to it.
So coming into a new season, a lot of different changes, time off, and then for you had a few races and then a little bump in the road. So talk about, what you went through and how you are in your training right now getting into the new World Cup season.
Yeah, well, I think like everybody else, obviously after the Olympics, we took off a little bit longer than normally. That's what I did. Got back into training around December. Came over to the States, did a couple of races there, and then kind of slowed it down because I felt like I wasn't ready for it yet. So I put a lot of work into this prep, and I am where I want to be in training wise, and for racing, this is the time of year that everything starts. The first World Cup is here. Next weekend we're going to Zolder, and then a couple of races in the US, and before we know, we're already in Rock Hill for the World. So it's going to be a long, busy period ahead, but it's going to be fun, a lot of races, and that's what we all like, right? So yeah, like I said, I am where I want to be, and I'm just looking forward to what's coming up this weekend.
So racing in front of your home country, home crowd, a lot of people say that's a little bit of advantage, but do you feel any extra pressure, or what are your thought process of going through the race this weekend?
Well, I think the people that think that it's a little bit of a home advantage, I think they're right, because in my case it is. I like that little bit extra pressure, and I don't see it as pressure. I just see it as extra motivation. And then this year they add a new stands next to the first straight, which gives more places to a lot more crowd, which I like and I prefer. And it's still a little bit cloudy and cold today, but it's going to be good weather for tomorrow and Sunday, and that's when the races are on. So I think everybody should come out and support everybody that's out there, especially the guys in orange and the Dutch guys for sure.
All right, so as we get through that part of the race, let's talk about your bike. It's a new look for this year. I'm not sure if it's a new bike, so just talk us through your 2017 race machine.
This is my 2017 Mebo whole shot 1.5. As you can see, it's a little bit chrome / silver. Obviously that has something to do with my results last year. I really like it. The setup is the same. Box is our component sponsor, so everything is built up with box parts. But other than that, it's new. I love it. Good-looking bike, and it's a little bit different than everybody else on the team. They ride a same whole shot 1.5 but a different color. I just want to stand out a little bit more this year. No, just kidding. I like the silver, and I like the way that Mebo surprised me with this bike, and I'm looking forward and trying to do my best on it, and try to get this bike onto a podium spot. And at the end, the color, the brand, the size, it doesn't matter. You want to be on that top spot at the end of the weekend, and I hope this bike brings me there.
So some riders always have that question of, or the viewers have that question of, the bike setup different from a supercross track to a traditional track, and like you said, you race a few different type of tracks. Is there anything that you change on your race bike from event style? The differences.
Well, I mean, depends. It also has a lot to do with the weather and stuff. I do like to go down in my gear when I, go down a small traditional BMX starting hill. So yeah, that's probably the major change that I do on my bike if I go to a normal BMX race. Other than that, it depends on the weather. I mean, if it's like really bad weather, you change tires or tire pressure or whatever. But other than that, I like my Tioga tires, so no reason to change them for this weekend.
All right, so as we get ready for these 2 rounds of racing, that's the last question we'll have for you. What do you think is going to be the difference now? Of we've been here 6 years before racing one single day. Yeah. Now we have back-to-back World Cups. What do you think we'll see different between yourselves and the elite men?
Well, like I said earlier, for me it's more of a survival of the fittest. Because we got to do 8 laps, 2 days in a row. And then the first day, everybody's used to that. Everybody can, put some 8 solid laps together. But then the next day, when you're a little bit fatigued, a little bit tired, normally it's like an easy travel, or, rest day or whatever. But this time you got to be on point again the day after. And this track is really demanding. It's up to somewhere between 35 and 40 seconds, depending on how clean the lap is. And that's gonna, fatigue everybody, and it's gonna be a pain in the ass for the weekend. But we're all well-trained athletes. We should be able to handle this. But I think that's going to be the major key, especially for Sunday. Everybody knows how it is to race for one day, but I'm curious how it will turn out on Sunday, because like I said, the track is demanding, and it's gonna be a tiring weekend for sure. Yeah.
All right, well, thanks so much, and we all look forward to watching you race over this upcoming weekend.
All right, thank you, Pete. See you guys.
Okay, so now we're in the elite men's practice. They're up on the hill. They're getting around the track. We had a lot of these riders that have been here early. They've kind of done some training. Some of the riders from within Europe, they've come and done some training camps. So you won't see a lot of riders doing full laps right now, but we have a lot of riders, almost 190 elite men, and there's 3 groups of practice. So usually there's only 2 different groups, and there's a group A, group B, but today's a group C as well for elite men. So it's thinned out a little bit more track time for each of these groups of riders on the track today. But as you can see, those riders are getting down that second straightaway. It's a big straightaway here in Papendal, so exciting to see. And as we said, we'll get the racing tomorrow. It's a little bit different format. The riders are going to go in for one moto. Top 4 are going to move on. Then there's going to be a last chance qualifier. That's how we're going to weed out some of these riders. There's no more time trials, so now it's just going to move on. So those single elimination racings, basically from the very start here. Top 4 move on. Then the other guys will go into that last chance qualifier. Again, top 4 will move on. Then they'll go into 30 seconds, 16s, 8s, quarters, semifinals, and finally after that 8th race, if they make it all that way, to the main event. You'll see that tomorrow night here live on BMX Live TV. Wheeling out the gate, but coming down that first jump, smooth, low style. That's Corben Sharrah. We're going to hope to get him here in just one moment for you. You let him go. What did you do? Okay, so we're here with the 2016 UCI overall Supercross champion, Corben Sharrah. Just wound up finishing up with practice here in Papendal. Corben, how did you feel out there on the track?
I feel pretty stiff today. It's cold out here, and not really used to this stuff riding in Arizona, so just a little stiff, have some layers on, so that kind of doesn't really help, but just want to stay as warm as possible out here today. Supposed to warm up for the weekend, so just did the best I could, just got comfortable out on the track. Everything's pretty much the same as last year, so wanted to get out there, get comfortable, and just feel things out for the race, so that's what I did, and feels good.
So you had a great season last year, winning a majority of the events, taking over that overall championship. Coming into the new season, how can you use that confidence or momentum from last year starting off the new 2017 season?
Yeah, it definitely was good. Last year it was the Olympic year, so there was a lot of hype there, and like after that I just really wanted to come back and do well at these Supercross races, so it's what I want to do this year. I mean, this is the hardest circuit in the world, so we're going to be over here in Europe quite a bit racing this weekend and next weekend, so I want to try to take that confidence from winning most of the races last year, and got fortunate to have 2 races in the States, which was really good for me, and try to transfer that over to here in Europe and do well. I've never really done too good over here in Europe, and been racing here a lot of years, and I'm stoked to be here in Papendal and want to get some good laps in and try to get in the main event.
So you've started off the USA BMX season with a few wins, I think, or at least one win.
Yeah, one.
So again, continuing on, we see a lot of riders have highs and lows, but you've been able to carry that momentum of winning races at the end of last year, coming into the new season winning. What do you do to keep that consistency that you seem to have found?
The first few races I didn't do so well. I mean, I still the beginning of the year didn't make some mains, but yeah, I was able to get a win and on the podium these last few weekends before this race, and I think we spoke about it last year, and there are ups and downs. I mean, you just got to kind of keep your wave minimal. It's like you can have big ups and big downs. So it's if you keep that minimal and kind of throw the things that you don't do, if you don't make any mains or something, you kind of throw those out and keep chucking away. So that's the big thing, is keeping your losses minimal and trying to stay on top.
Yeah, because you went into Rock Hill for the USA National Championship and took that title, as well as winning one of the races back in Austin, Texas on day 1. So it's so that was what I was that's why I was alluding to, a few wins, because you forget about the stars and bars on your sleeve there. So for once, I'm actually right, so I feel good about myself. So let's talk about your bike. A lot of people had questions about your bike, so we want to get a little bit of scoop of just the bike, the setup that you're running, and some of the new things it looks like that you have on your bike.
Yeah, it's a Daylight Arc 1. My good friend does the engine turning on the bike. I mean, that's probably the main thing that a lot of people get is it's like, what is the finish on it? And it really is just, the guy had made a tool that they're actually 24 millimeters is the diameter or the circumference of the wheel. So every little bit you see is hand put on there. So there's a lot of hours put into the bike, and it's good. It's just it's an aluminum bike, inch and an eighth, inch and a half top tube, and I don't think there's anything real crazy. I mean, all I have is a all carbon fiber seat and just some light parts on there. A little bit of a weight weenie. I like to do some of the light stuff, so a little bit of things here and there, and that's about it.
So you're one of the few riders that we've seen that run a rear disc brake. Can you talk about any of the advantage or why you've chosen that on your new setup?
I think they're great. I mean, I had some questions myself before I started running it, and ended up putting it on the bike, and I loved it. I mean, sometimes a V-brake you don't get quite the same feel. You have a little bit of hit and miss. If your rim's not totally true, you'll have a little bit of grab and a little less. And with a disc, I mean, it's completely the same feel all the way around. So I feel like you can feather the brake a little bit better than you can with the regular V, and I think it just looks good. It looks clean. It's nice and clean without having the brake mounts on there, and overall I like the way it feels. It pulls a little easier than a V-brake as well, so you can kind of, I've always said, conserve a little energy on your forearm throughout the day, so that's good. And yeah, I've loved running the disc brake since I put it on. I thought I would have to pull it off. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be an advantage. I mean, technically as BMXers, we don't really use the brake anyways. You don't need it too much, but when you are out there training and kind of if it's windy or you need to pull the brakes, you need to feather them a little in the race, I think it's an advantage for sure, so it came out good.
And then one last question about your bike setup. Do you change it at all, the difference between a 8 millimeter hill, 8 meter hill, or a more traditional, typical USA BMX type of hill?
No, I keep everything exactly the same. I know there's some guys that'll change the gear, change the rear tire a little bit, and do some small things to change it, but there's nothing I change. I pretty much keep the same setup everywhere I go.
Well, if I was out there winning pro races, I think I'd leave the setup the same everywhere as well. Thanks, Corben, and we look forward to seeing your race this weekend.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, so you got some of the scoop with the top riders in the elite women and the elite men's class. You got to check out their bikes, and you got to see how they're feeling here in Papendal as we get into the start of the 2017 UCI BMX Supercross circuit. And we got those two back-to-back races, and you'll see every one of the motos on Saturday and Sunday, as well as the whole day of racing live here on BMX Live TV. So for the Dan's Comp preview show, I'm Pete Dylewski. That's a wrap from here in Papendal. We'll see you tomorrow as we tune in live for all that racing from Papendal for the start of the 2017 UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour.
Riders ready, watch the gate.